Okay, so today we'll make a short little video talking about how to patch an oil pan on your car, or more to the point, such as with this oil pan, how not to. This is an oil pan off of a 1998 Volkswagen Beetle 2-liter 4-cylinder. Previous owner put a hole in the oil pan, probably hit something on the road as they were driving. You could see the patch there. And they attempted to patch it up. Then they got rid of it. My friend purchased it at a used car lot. All he knew was it had an oil leak. Now, I wonder why. So I was working on the car for unrelated reasons and discovered the patch caused an oil leak during the process. Now, you could put a hole in an oil pan pretty easily, especially in cars like that Beetle sitting so low to the ground. I'd say, given the orientation of where this patch is located, I'd say they definitely hit something going down the road. There was indication of other damage to the vehicle associated with it. So you can repair an oil pan as opposed to having to replace it. Of course, replacing the oil pan is always the preferred method to make sure it's done right, but it's not always necessary. Less replacing the oil pan, welding it's the second runner-up. Welding an oil pan is a guaranteed way of getting a real good seal and no leaks. Of course, not everybody's got access to welding equipment, so on and so forth. So you can patch an oil pan using steel putty, very much like that material, but the trick here is to do it right, to take some time and prep the oil pan. Now, I can pretty well guarantee that the people who patched this oil pan didn't do any preparation to it at all. In fact, pulling the oil pan off of this car was actually pretty easy. There was only, I think, 2 or 3 bolts, those there, that were partially obstructed by the transmission, still accessible without having to jack the motor up or do any, inordinate work to it. Everything else was very accessible, so pulling the pan wasn't that difficult. There are, of course, engines where pulling the pan is a big chore, and not everybody is capable of doing that. There is ways to patch it in that instance as well, but just for the purpose of this video, we're going to assume that it's possible to pull the pan. That's the best possible way to do it. Once you have the pan pulled, the first step is cleanliness. Cleanliness is the key. You want a good, clean surface to patch. Now, looking at this patch from the outside, the surface of the oil pan that's facing the engine, it doesn't look like it would leak until we look a little closer. And you could, I don't know if the camera is going to show that too well, but you could kind of see where it looks like the patch is kind of pulling away from the pan, and that's because it kind of is. And that was because of the fact that it wasn't prepped, it wasn't cleaned. So, they didn't pull the pan, they didn't clean it. But the real tale of the tale here is flipping the pan to where we can see the business end here. Try to get the light to where we can see it. So here's the patch material, and this is the metal of the oil pan here, pushed up like a trapdoor. And you can see from underneath, they didn't pull the pan, they didn't do anything to it, they just took a bunch of steel putty and kind of jammed it up in the hole to plug it. And once they had a certain amount in, they just kind of looked like they just palmed it, pressed it on with their palm and said, okay, that's good. Well, it didn't hold, for obvious reasons. So real quick, I'm going to tell you the correct way to have done this. First would have been, of course, removing the oil pan from the engine. The second is cleaning the oil pan thoroughly inside and out. Use a rag or terry cloth towel to remove all residue from the oil and the residue from the engine wear. And you can use gasoline or turpentine or even just a parts solvent. I've even used brake cleaner on this kind of thing to clean it up real well. The Point here is to remove all oily residue and dirt and debris and trash and metal filings from engine wear. You want a completely clean surface, inside and out. That's the inside of the pan and the other side too. And the next thing I would do, and I have done in the past, would be to lay the pan flat, such as it is right now, and get a hammer or wooden dowel and beat that piece of metal that's protruding up there like a trapdoor, and beat it flat, or as flat as you can, to the pan. You don't have to have it perfect, but you know, the closer the better. Once you've got the metal beat back down to where it's, the next step, after again making sure it's completely clean, would be to patch it. Get a piece of steel putty, and the way I've always done it, once you work the putty according to the directions, I make like a Hershey Kiss shape form, with the base, the flat base of the kiss being big enough to cover the damaged area, and then press it down on your thumb so that it would actually extend. Once it's pressed flat, I would want the patch to extend out to about here, all the way around the total diameter of the damaged area. And try not to press it too thin. You don't want the material to be too thin. That would negate the ability of the patch to hold in the first place. Try to get some of the material to work down in the seam between the original metal of the pan and the broken metal. And once you've got a good patch on the inside of the pan, you know, as uniform as you can get it, then you'd flip it over and you do the exact same thing on the outside of the pan. And so you've got a two-part patch. You've got a patch on the inside, then the metal of the oil pan, and then the patch on the outside, making basically an oil pan patch sandwich. And then you put it somewhere where it's out of rain and wind and dirt, won't be messed with by people or animals or critters or anything, and just let it sit for the necessary time frame according to the directions of the steel putty to set completely. So if it says that it's completely cured in 24 hours, 48 hours, let it set. Don't keep poking at it, don't keep prodding it, just let it be. And let it set completely. So once you've got the oil pan patched on the inside and on the outside, and it's completely cured, you don't have to do any machine work to it. It's an oil pan. It's not something that people are going to look at every day and so on and so forth. As long as you did the patch correctly, it should hold just fine. Just put the oil pan back on the engine and fill up with oil and be on your way. Now, doing the patch as they did here without cleaning it, you know, you're just asking for trouble. Cleanliness is always the key when using a patch material such as this. The cleaner you can get it, the better off you're going to be. Clearly this patch didn't hold, and it was leaking oil pretty profusely. And fortunately, the owner that bought the car, that brought the car to me to have me work on it, he didn't want to fart with having to remove the patch. He just found another pan on eBay, fairly cheap, ordered it, got it in a week and a half, and bolted it right up. But of course, not everybody's an eBay purchaser. Not everybody has the time and money to mess with that. Now, patching an oil pan that's still attached to the engine is a different story. Clearly you're not going to be able to patch the inside, but you can still patch the outside in a way that it would hold. The trick is going to be, of course, to drain the oil from the engine and let it sit in that fashion for a long period of time. Look at the location of the hole versus the orientation of the engine. So if the hole's towards the front of the engine facing the radiator, you want to jack the front of the car up so that any residual oil in the oil pan moves away from the breech. If the breech is on the driver's side, then you want to jack up the driver's side so that any residual oil in the pan moves to the passenger side, therefore away from the breech. Just look at the orientation of the brake in the pan and then jack up that side as best you can. Let it set. After you drain the pan, clean the outside of the pan thoroughly. Again, you can use spray cleaner, turpentine, any kind of acetone-based cleaning solvent, parts cleaner. Just, you know, use caution and eye protection and all that good stuff. Cleanliness is the key. Don't attempt to do this type of patching material exposed to the weather if you're expecting rain. You want it to remain clean and dry. And of course, humidity will always affect how long it takes for the patch material to set. Do not force a great deal of patch material up through the breach as they did on this one. Looking at the pan, they've got looks like a stalagmite protruding up there, and I've actually seen this done once before, where they pushed so much patch material up through the hole that a large stalagmite extended upwards and actually contacted the crank, started chipping away at the material. Eventually it broke the patch and got all that broken crap up in the engine oil, and well, that didn't turn out very well for the engine. So don't be cramming a whole bunch of patch material up in the hole. You can cause yourself a lot more problems than you started out with. So anyway, I just had a few minutes of free time on my hands today. Well, I've got a lot more than a few minutes since I'm out of work again, so I'll probably start making some more videos. But anyway, I decided before working on my old MTD mower here to kind of point that out. If you're going to have to patch it on the car, if you can find a way to get a hold of the metal material that's protruded up and pull it down slightly, which it can be difficult, you should try. If not, just just be real cautious about how you apply the patch. Don't make the patch too thin. If you make it clean enough, you can make it hold. This is an incorrect example of how to patch an oil pan. So anyway, thanks for watching. Comments always welcome. If you've got other solutions on redneck patching an oil pan, be it engine oil pan for motor oil, or transmission, automatic transmission, or even patching a manual transmission casing, which I've had to deal with all of the above over the past 15 years using different methods, feel free to post. Until next time.